Hello and welcome to the Smashy Business Show. Today is Tuesday, May 27, 2025. I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Ward Ahmed, and we've got a packed show for you today. Firstly, we're going to be discussing how Saudi Arabia has denied the alcohol legalization rumors, according to Reuters. Secondly, and this is big, UAE is going to become the first country to offer free ChatGPT Plus to all of its residents. Thirdly, Saudi Arabia and Kuwait have striked a new oil in Partitioned zone, and Pierre Morgans has shifted his stance on Gaza, and we're going to tell you what Khalaf Habtoor, the Emirati billionaire, has to say about that. And finally, Middle East's wealthy family offices are looking to the West.
First story, we did a fact check on it yesterday, and today we finally have an official statement. So a senior official, Saudi official, has firmly denied media reports suggesting that the kingdom plans to shift its long-standing ban on alcohol. This was reported by Reuters. The clarification follows speculation stemming from an unverified post on a wine blog, which claimed Saudi Arabia would allow alcohol in certain tourist zones ahead of the 2034 FIFA World Cup. The report quickly spread through international media despite lacking any official sources.
Now, Saudi Arabia, the birthplace of Islam, enforces a strict ban on alcohol for Muslims, a policy in place since 1952. While the country has undergone very significant social reforms in, these recent years, alcohol remains off limits to the general public, including both citizens and expats. Now, the rumors triggered heated online debate, with many questioning whether such a move could align with the kingdom's religious values.
And the kingdom's transformation under Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has included major shifts in public life, from lifting the ban on women driving to opening cinemas and hosting music festivals. These changes are part of Vision 2030, an ambitious plan to diversify the economy and reduce reliance on oil. However, alcohol remains a sensitive issue in the deeply conservative society.
Currently, Saudi Arabia and Kuwait are the only Gulf countries where the sale of alcohol is fully prohibited. A minor exception was made last year when Riyadh opened its first alcohol store exclusively for non-Muslim diplomats. Previously, alcohol could only be accessed through diplomatic mail channels.
As the country gears up to host major global events like the World Cup, speculation around further social liberalization is expected to continue. But for now, Saudi officials are making it clear the alcohol ban remains firmly in place. And the next story is right next. But yeah, a lot of people yesterday were asking, like, is it a perception test or anything? But we have an official verdict now. A lot of people will still come out and talk about it. A lot of Saudi officials are.
Do you think it's going to happen?
I don't think it can happen. Again, the Riyadh story that we went back to, that they opened one shop for only diplomats who are visiting the country or are from other countries and staying in the country for some work for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, extended periods. Only they were allowed to be there at the shop. But that also faced a significant amount of backlash. So it's not going to happen, because over the last 2, 3 years, since the World Cup has been announced, Riyadh Expo has been announced like 3, 4 years ago, every time we see a Saudi person, a Saudi official, a Saudi minister sit at any place, be it World Economic Forum, be it FII, whenever they're asked this question, their answer is clear. We are a dry country. We want people to enjoy everything without alcohol. So tourism, places they want to go, golf resorts they want to go, neon projects in Dala, whatever you can name, they want you to enjoy all of that without alcohol. And there was another insight from one of the people, and he that was like very catchy for me. He said, we didn't see any tourism go down because of this. So it's increasing day by day, tourism. So that means, yeah.
I remember, Majid, and this is something that I know shocked many, but in Al-Ula, there were these parties that were being hosted, and honestly, I could not believe my eyes. Yeah. I was like, wait, you guys are in Saudi right now? And I forgot the DJ's name, but he's called Adam or something. And I remember the area was so packed. So I understand why people came up with these rumors, because they saw that concerts were happening, that these parties were happening. So that assumption, I guess, maybe naturally came in, but it's untrue.
Yeah, it's untrue for now. Whatever comes next, we don't know. No Saudi official minister, anyone has said that it will be legalized. Even if when it happens, we'll tell you. Smashy business. We'll tell you. We'll be the first or second person to tell you.
We're on
Let's
it.
move to the neighbors of Saudi Arabia, the UAE. And very big news. The United Arab Emirates is set to become the first country in the world to offer free access to ChatGPT Plus for all its residents, both citizens and expats. The announcement comes as a part of a landmark partnership between OpenAI and the UAE government under a new initiative called Stargate UAE.
Now, ChatGPT Plus, which typically costs around $20 per month, offers users access to OpenAI's advanced GPT-4o model, known for faster responses, better reasoning, and premium features such as web browsing, file uploads, and image generation. Now, the free rollout will give every resident in the UAE access to these tools, supporting professionals and students and developers alike.
And the initiative coincides with OpenAI's plans to build the world's largest AI supercomputing cluster in Abu Dhabi in collaboration with the Abu Dhabi giant UAE tech firm G42. This facility, part of the global OpenAI for Countries program, will deliver 1 gigawatt of AI computing power with 200 megawatts expected online by 2026.
And the Stargate UAE project is backed by major tech players, including Oracle, NVIDIA, Cisco, and SoftBank, and is being developed in close coordination with the US government. Now, in parallel, the UAE is also investing in Stargate AI infrastructure within the United States, reinforcing bilateral tech cooperation. And I believe this is happening through MGX, the tech fund in Abu Dhabi.
No official timeline has been given for when free access to ChatGPT Plus will begin, but 2026 is being targeted. OpenAI says the initiative is a key step towards building safe and globally beneficial AI, with similar partnerships expected to follow in Asia and beyond. The very interesting thing is it's not that expensive, but still getting it for free is the best thing
No,
that
it's
can
great.
happen.
I don't have the advanced version, by the way,
right?
Majid. I use.
So you can use it for free whenever it comes.
Exactly. That's why I'm really excited. But with this, it's just with this entire, story of Stargate coming to the UAE. I can't tell whether this has been in the works for a while, or it just suddenly came up upon Trump's visit to the Gulf. Because I remember before he arrived here, Majid, I was reading a lot of articles that were saying that Sam Altman is struggling to get the funding for Stargate in the U.S.
Yeah.
So my theory is what this could be because of the fact that, Stargate is coming here because they need a backer. They need a really strong backer, and who else better than the UAE, and who else better than the city of Abu Dhabi that is worth trillions of dollars with so many funds there. You have Mubadala, MGX, ADQ. There's just so much backing
ADI,
there.
the biggest one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think that's my theory there.
The funny thing is, it's very rare that you see any person from G42 give a talk. A reel came up on my Instagram.
Who was it from G42?
So Peng Zhao, the CEO, the head of G42.
I feel he's often overshadowed.
Yeah, but he was sitting with the BlackRock guy, Larry Fink, and they were having an interview. And this guy said a number, and which was amazing for me as well. He said, to make a data center, AI data center, you need at least $40 to $50 billion. So one AI data center which can produce 1 gigawatt of power and the data, what's it called? Data, not manufacturing, data servicing basically. So 1 gigawatt takes 40 to 50 billion. This center is nearly 5 gigawatts when it's completed over the years. So it's going to take around $250 billion of investment, which we saw.
To build this data center in Abu Dhabi.
So 1 gigawatt is 40 to 50 billion. 5 gigawatt, nearly $250 billion. And obviously, Sam Altman doesn't have that kind of money. That is why he came to the capital of capital.
Wait, I have a question, Majid. When I'm using ChatGPT, there's data centers that are running.
Yeah.
Do these data centers, it might be a stupid question, but do these data centers have to be in close proximity to where I am? Or could they be in another country?
It's like a phone network. You use the phone. if you know the basics of how phones work, so there's towers which reflect the signals. Very easy. If you're in this place and there's a tower nearby and you're talking to some person, so your signal will go to the nearest tower and then it'll keep bouncing till it reaches the person's tower which is in close proximity. So it happens in microseconds.
Oh,
So
okay.
whatever you say on the phone, for example, you said hello. Hello is converted into a binary code, ones and zeros. The signal is turned into a digital signal, goes to your nearest tower, and then jumps.
So basically, when I'm using my ChatGPT,
Yeah,
it's
it's
in
like the
close
same.
proximity. It's in close proximity to a data center in the UAE.
Yes, and that data center, eventually, whichever person, wherever the whole idea or the whole data set of ChatGPT is stored, eventually those data centers lead to that, and then they fetch the information back for you. So imagine you write hello, and ChatGPT replies, hello, how are you today? Whatever it replies to you, that happens within a second, right? So all this process takes place within microseconds and you get your response. So yeah, that's the complicated technical part of it. But
I
yeah,
asked that because in my head I was like,
Yeah, a lot of
wait,
people are like, why
is
do you
my
need data centers?
ChatGPT running because of some data center in the US? But
yeah,
no,
it is,
really,
because some of the information, the data sets, all the data that ChatGPT has, it has to be stored somewhere as well. So you need data center to store data and process data.
which brings me to my point. I wonder what information is going to be stored in that data center in
No,
Bobby.
it's not,
Is it going to benefit
it's-
Sam Altman in some kind of way?
To be honest, whatever you say to ChatGPT, Grok, Perplexity, Manus AI from
Gemini.
China, Gemini, whatever you say is being stored somehow, but it's not being stored as the exact message. It's a learning process for the AI. So the more we talk to ChatGPT, it's not just that free services are being given to us. All these chatbots are learning from our
Oh my God,
conversations.
Majid, have you seen Google's VO3?
Oh, yeah.
That is absolutely insane. I find it so uncanny, by the way. This is so unsettling.
That's the future of media,
it
to be honest.
feels real, but basically, Google, it released this new update on Gemini, VO3, and it could literally, through a single prompt, it can create a cinematic film for you, an entire video of just, and it looks so realistic. It looks so realistic that the human beings actually have emotions and feelings and expressions, which I feel like we've never seen before.
So a lot of AIs, video making AIs, they had the video version of it. So you could prompt it and get video, but you saw what was happening, 6 fingers, weird expressions, very inconsistent expressions. So if you ask for a person who is excited standing in a bazaar or a market, the person will have, for those 3 seconds, an excited look, but you would see there is something wrong with his expressions. He is excited, but there will be a glitch. With VO3, they've added audio over it as well. So you can make a video where someone is saying something and the mouth movement, that was the most interesting part for me, because they haven't been able to make fingers correct, but they have the perfect mouth sync. The lip sync is so nice in VO3.
It's crazy.
The video that you
and
shared.
it can
And I
speak
was like,
Arabic.
okay, yeah.
It can speak Arabic. It can speak different
And nice
dialects.
dialects. They didn't, because when I heard the video, and I was like, okay, this feels different from this one. Obviously, I don't know Arabic, but I know the dialects, and I was like,
But you
okay,
can feel it. It's a feeling. You can
different.
feel the authenticity.
So from Saudi Arabia to UAE and now back to Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. It's a very interesting story because we always think that these guys have found the oil that they're looking for, but they keep finding more. So Saudi Arabia and Kuwait have announced a new oil discovery in the partition zone. And partition zone is basically a jointly managed area known for its significant energy reserves. The find was made in the Wara Burgan field, just 5 kilometers north of the Wafra oil field, and was revealed by the Saudi press agency on Monday.
Now, the discovery, as Majid said, was made under the Wafra Joint Operations, a collaborative venture between both nations to develop the shared onshore resources of the partition zone, also known as the neutral zone. Now, it marks the first discovery since joint operations resumed in 2020, following a key 2019 agreement to revive output in that area.
This development comes at a critical time for Saudi Arabia, which saw its oil revenues drop 18% year on year in the first quarter of 2025 due to lower global prices and OPEC plus output cuts. The share of oil in total Saudi exports also declined from nearly 76% last year to 71.8% this year.
So officials say the new fine could help offset revenue pressures and reinforce the region's standing as a reliable energy supplier. It also signals continued exploration momentum, even amid wider efforts to diversify both economies.
And further assessments and development in the Vara Burgan field are expected in the coming months. If successful, the discovery could lead to increased output, enhanced energy security, and greater supply stability across global markets. We always talk about diversification, that they're moving away from oil and this and that.
They have to.
But
The
they
oil
keep
prices are going down.
Yeah, but they're unearthing oil every day now. And the interesting thing about this story was that after like 5 years, finally, that partitioned zone, they finally found oil because they thought there were reserves. The geological surveys that happened before anything, before you start digging actually, they said there were oil, but it took them 5 years to finally reach and be like, okay, yeah, there is oil. So yeah, they'll get more oil, they'll be able to sell more and somehow
Look, the
manage
more the
their
merrier. Honestly, the more the merrier. You know, it's oil is still in high demand. So I think we're good to go here.
ADNOC CEO, as he said, make energy great again. Sustainability
Oh,
is very
Sultan
important.
Al-Jaber.
Yeah, he said, make energy great again. See, to be honest, we need energy, we need oil, we need everything, but we need all of that so we can very comfortably and easily move towards sustainable
Imagine,
options.
remember
right?
that video when Sultan Al-Jaber, he's basically the group CEO of
Yeah.
ADNOC, when he was meeting with Trump, he basically gave Trump this like drop, this like very tiny drop of...
And it's the most pure
yeah,
form of oil in the
most-
world.
Yeah, it's the most, as Majid said, it's the most pure form of oil in the world. And I remember Trump was like, you know, I'm thank you, but like I'm not happy. Like, why would you not give me more than that? And just seeing the way that you know, Al-Jaber responded so gracefully. I mean, I feel like this man should be given more credit. He
Yeah.
leads ADNOC.
Yeah.
You know, the impact that ADNOC has. And by the way, I believe that out of all oil companies, they are diversifying really well. Just this morning, you saw me drinking my coffee.
Yeah.
Get their iced Spanish latte with the condensed milk. It's absolutely insane. And by the way, a lot of people are getting completely obsessed with their coffee, Majid. You know, some people only buy coffee from there. They're like regulars. I remember when I was walking into the store, I was just listening to the workers speaking to the customers, and they're like, again, you're here for your coffee. Like, people make it their mission. There's lines in the morning. No, seriously, there's lines in the morning.
It's becoming the Tim Hortons of UAE, ADNOC shops. He's also the Minister of Industry and Advanced Technology. I completely forgot he is the minister also. And they have some very nice initiatives also. He's like one of the persons that I look up to in the government in the UAE. Because I remember when COP28 happened in Dubai and the UAE, and we were hosting it, he gave a speech. I don't remember the full speech, but to be honest, the emotion that usually when you see a lot of people in the region give speeches, they're very boring. Not boring in the sense the content is boring. The tone is not good. It's like very monotonous and very single.
They're PR trained.
Yeah. This guy, he's so natural because I met him once and I shook his hand. I said, and I
Really?
met him
You met
after
him?
COP28.
That's
COP28
really
was
nice.
November. I met him in May in ADNEC. I shook his hand and I don't know why, but the first thing that came out of my mouth was, "Sir, I loved your speech at the COP opening." And he was like, "Okay, you heard that?" I was like, "Yeah, I also listened to the closing speech, and to be honest, it's one of the best COP speeches." And he was like, "Oh, thank you." And then he asked me, "What do you do?" I was like, "The event we're organizing." I was working with the company which organized that event. And I was like, "Oh, I'm one of the organizers." He's like, "Nice, nice." And then obviously there were like 100 people standing there. So that point, I realized that there's a few of them who you would see everywhere. The Mubadala CEO, he's so
Khaldoon
well.
al-Mubarak.
He's
Yeah.
so well versed. Whenever you listen to him speak, you're like, this guy knows where he's investing, what's he doing, why is he doing all of that.
I mean, of course, Mubadala would not develop as it did. It would not have that partnership, the $1.5 billion partnership with Microsoft, if it did not have such good leaders like Khaldoon al-Mubarak and Sultan al-Jaber who are leading it. But speaking of another great leader, one of the greatest leaders of the UAE, we have Khalaf al-Habtoor, and he raised a really good point. Basically, he actually phrased British famous podcaster Piers Morgan for what he calls moral shift on the Gaza genocide. So Habtoor said Morgan's recent comments reflect a growing global sentiment, and it's not a passing opinion. You know, he made these remarks on X, calling the shift a moment the world can't ignore.
And Morgan, who is currently in the UAE for the Arab Media Summit, I think he's speaking on Thursday, May 29, made headlines after a televised debate with journalist Mehdi Hassan. During the exchange, Morgan stated, "I resist no longer." He was basically talking about Israel killing babies and women and children and anyone they can find. So he was telling Mehdi that, "I resist no longer, you're right." And he openly criticized Israel for its handling of the humanitarian crisis, the genocide in Gaza, particularly the lack of a plan to stop child starvation.
Now, Khalaf al-Habtoor, a self-made billionaire and the chairman of the al-Habtoor Group and the founder, has long been vocal on humanitarian issues. Now, what's really interesting is that he was actually born in Dubai's Shandaga district in 1949. And can you guys imagine that there was a time where he lived in a one-room house, and now he operates hotels worldwide and distributes Mitsubishi vehicles in the UAE?
And the comments come amid heightened international scrutiny of the Gaza genocide being carried out by Israel. Al-Habtoor's support for Morgan underscores a broader shift in global discourse as influential voices are increasingly calling for urgent humanitarian action in the region. And it's a very, to be honest, it's a sad story. It's not
I don't
good
think he was
story to
praising
think
him,
about.
by the way.
Yeah.
I really do think that Piers
Basically, he was
Morgan's
saying-
opinion, he's flip-flopping.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. And it's like, for me, when I was watching that interview with that journalist, Mahdi, when he was saying, "I resist no longer." So
Yeah.
wait, by the way, like when you're resisting something, resistance is when you're thinking something, but you're stopping yourself from doing it. You're
Yeah.
resisting from doing it. So you've been thinking this all along, but you've never actually expressed your opinion until the UK came and said, "Okay, now we're finally going to suspend talks with Israel over what they're doing." You know, the European Union is calling for action, and they too are considering suspending trade talks with Israel. You know, that is when you finally, stop resisting. I think I find an issue with that. But beside the point, I think what Khalaf al-Habtoor said does stand true. This is the first time that we've actually seen the West stand with Israel,
Yeah.
and I mean stand with Palestine, and it's changing everything.
Yeah. The opposite side of the story is very scary, how Netanyahu is handling all of this, and he's like, "We'll clear the place, we'll move all people out." There was rumors that US had a plan of relocating nearly 100,000 Gazans to Jordan and all those places. There's been so much talk and so much negativity around it from that side. But to be honest, I'm really happy with how Middle East handles it. UAE is sending millions of dollars of aid. They have their ships, hospital ships there. They have their
That
air
allegedly
carriers there.
they cannot even access. I think that I've been reading a lot of reports online that they're not able to actually access that aid.
Obviously, the problem is with how strictly Israel controls those borders. But recently, our foreign minister, he somehow found a way to get UAE's aid in. And I think that's thanks to Abraham Accords also, because we have a deal with them, trade, bilateral trade, and a lot of cultural things as well. But they allowed aid. What did the story about Firas al-Masadi, the farm properties guy? He said that 5 trucks are not enough, and to be
Out
honest,
of 11 trucks, only
yeah.
5 trucks were allowed to
when
enter.
you look at the numbers, UN, all the humanity, UNRWA, which Israel hates and wants out of the region, all the people in the world, you see they're saying you need at least 100,000 trucks per day. So that's the amount. When you look at the videos of people like fighting over basic bread, khubus, which we buy from these stores for like 2 dirham, 3 dirham, basic bread is not available, and all these things are happening. But it's good that people who are in a position, like opinion leaders, Mr. Khalaf al-Habtoor, case in point, they're talking about it openly, and it shows that, we care. We want it to end as soon as possible. These guys want it to end. Everyone wants it to end. as soon as possible.
But I think the fact that it also comes from Khalaf al-Habtoor, just to, I feel like, move on to a positive note.
Yeah.
I'm reading his book right now, and Majid,
nice.
this man, he is so inspiring. I mean, so basically, he was born in 1949 in Shindaga, and his family actually grew up poor. They grew up in a one-room house. I believe he had one brother, 4 sisters, and imagine all of them with their parents living in just one room.
Yeah.
And they used to like drink water with like insects. I mean, the entire. And then at age 10, he got on a ship with his family, and he went to India. Like his entire life. This is someone who is actually self-made. And in his story, there was one thing that stood out to me a lot. Basically, Majid, Khalaf al-Habtoor wakes up early.
Nice.
I don't know if you hear this, but he wakes up early, and the first thing that he does is he goes and he plays tennis for 1 hour. But the reason behind why he wakes up so early is because basically back in the day when he had already founded Al-Habtoor Engineering, which then became Al-Habtoor Group, he was sleeping late. And then he basically got a call. And it was from one of the shuyukh. I forgot who it was, but basically he acted. His wife was the person who picked up the call. While he went, he brushed his teeth to sound a bit more awake. And when he picked up the phone, one of his highnesses was basically like, hey, I could tell that you were asleep. And in that phone call, that's when he was basically given the land beside Emirates International School, Jumeirah, the school that Al-Habtoor Group owns, Metropolitan Hotel. That's when he was basically given the land to build that hotel. Basically one of the most iconic hotels that Al-Habtoor Group owns. And he said that from that day on, I sleep early and I wake up early. And honestly, that is such good logic.
Yeah.
What opportunities are you missing when you're asleep? Yeah. Who could be calling you from the morning? But he really is a self-made billionaire who has a really good perspective of the UAE and its entire history.
You talk about all these billionaires, and when you look at their stories, Mr. Khalaf al-Habtoor, one of the great stories, Hussain Sajwani, all these billionaires, we do Dreamers series, we're doing more soon. We stopped in the middle, paused, but we're doing more. But you look at any story, it comes out of struggle. Because these are like the original people who actually made
With
UAE.
Khalaf, it was actual struggle, though.
So all these people actually made the UAE what it is today. These contributions from all these people. And it's not just Emiratis. World always talks about the Indian guys who came here. They've built billion-dollar businesses, the Landmark Group, Al-Shaya Group, all these groups.
Lulu Hypermarket.
Yeah, so to be honest, for me, these are the OG people who've actually created this whole environment where we're living, safety, prosperity, money, everything is there, is because of this whole group of I think you can count them on fingers if you started, 50 to 100 people who actually built this country, and their contributions are great. And talking about contributions, UBS has just released its Global Family Office Report 2025. It's a very interesting report, so stay with us, offering a rare glimpse into where the world's wealthiest families are putting their money. And the Middle East numbers tell a very clear story. According to the survey, family offices in the region, in the Middle East, Abu Dhabi, Saudi, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, are looking outward with a heavy preference for North America when it comes to geographic allocation.
A massive 55% of Middle East family office portfolios are invested in North America, including the US and Canada. So Western Europe comes in second at 21%, while only 14% of investments remain within the Middle East itself, signaling a clear lack of home market confidence.
Yeah.
Greater China, meanwhile, receives just 4% of their regional investment share.
And when it comes to asset classes, Middle Eastern family offices are evenly split. Half of their wealth is in traditional investments like publicly traded stocks, stock markets, and bonds, while the other half is allocated to alternative assets, including private companies and real estate.
And here's how that breaks down. Equities lead at 27%, followed closely by private equity at 25%. Fixed income makes up 16%, and real estate accounts for 14%. Are we surprised? And a notably higher share than in some other regions like Latin America.
And in summary, Middle East family offices are going global, favoring established markets abroad and balancing their portfolios between safe bets and high return alternatives. The most interesting thing was, like, we always talk about that these guys invest at home. They are, to be honest, their 14% is a part of trillions of dollars. So Varad always tells this number is very interesting. 4 trillion of only sovereign wealth fund held. Sovereign wealth numbers is 4 trillion, right?
It's $4 trillion
If you
combined
combine
in the
Qatar,
Gulf.
Saudi, UAE, Kuwait, all
That
of
is like
these.
ready liquid
Yeah.
cash. You don't
But
find
when
that
you talk
anywhere.
about family offices, a lot of their proceedings, a lot of the money that they have, it's not open. But these guys, UBS, the bank, Swiss bank, they went to them. They chose them on very nice criteria. Any family offices that manages 2 billion and above, they went to them and they took the survey, like, where are you investing? What is this? And a lot of them are investing in North America, 14% inside. We'll do we'll do a social post on it. Very interesting numbers. But yeah.
Yeah, they are. And that's a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Smashy Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashy Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
This has been a Smashy Business Show, a Smashy Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to the producers who are standing behind the mirror and dancing,
Hi,
because
Rasa
we're
and
ending the show and they
Natasha.
want something, I guess. But a big shout out to our 1.5 million monthly listeners across all platforms. You make this possible. If you're one of them, we appreciate you. Have a great day. Bye bye.